Happy Spiritual Sunday to you all. It's great to be back again. And like always, we'll give a few minutes for people to get online. Hello, hello. Yes, great to see you all. Thank you for joining us. Oh, we have the Far East. We have Europe. Yes, thank you. We have the Middle East. We have the West. Thank you for being joining us and being consistent. Yes. Okay, we'll just give another minute. Yeah. Good morning, good morning. Shavua Tov. Oh, we have Mexico with us. Brazil. There we go. California. Oh, and Malaysia. Oh, thank you. Okay, well, let's get started and people will join on. As I've started to do now a little bit more often, I opened up a book today. This book is called Simple Light by Karen Berg. And of course, as always, it befits the day. If we understood that there is a system for all things that manifest in our life, and that everything is here to teach us and bring us to a place where we can complete our correction, then we would never worry. We would know that God put us in this framework, in this body, in this environment, to be in the best position to finish our correction. So a few of the points, all right? One is, there's a system for this. Yes, we constantly speak about it because, just to put in a different frame, if there were no system to the world, if the world were literally just random or chaotic, then why in the world would we even want to be here? Because every one of us get up in the morning, day in and day out, every person on earth gets up in the morning with some hope, some idea of making their life better by doing whatever they believe will make their life better. It's a simple idea. They get up, whether it's going to work, whether it's going to play, whether it's teaching their children, taking their kids to school, whether it's even, heaven forbid, but unfortunately there are many people, even if it's going out on the street and begging for food or sustenance or whatever, every person gets up to make their life better. If we really, really, really believe there were no system, that it was just all random, then we would never do that. But whatever effort we make to make our lives better, it's because we do, in our heart and soul, know that there's a system to this. We call it, as we'll talk a little today also, cause and effect. What I put out into the world will come back to me. The effort I make will return. So people, even if it's just they're in that terrible straits, that they're out on the street begging for food or sustenance or money, they believe that's the system. If they make an effort to go out there, people will then give them and help them fulfill their needs. So if it were chaotic, if it were random, why would they go out? Because they could go out one day and nothing happened. They could go out and, there'd be no system, be no purpose to this. So as Karen said, there is a system to all of this, and that's essentially what you and I are learning here in the Kabbalah Center. Through the ancient wisdom of Kabbalah, we're understanding the laws of the universe. And if they're laws of the universe, they're good for everybody, everyone, everywhere, anything. So, yes, okay, great. Wow, thank you so much. Yes, I missed you too. Glad you're here. Okay, so let's get started with our Awakening Our Consciousness. For those of you who are new, right, we're here exactly to do this. to understand the system of the universe, to be able to apply it, and therefore control our destiny, make our destiny better. The better we get, the better we act, then the cause and effect will bring that back to us. So we're here to raise our consciousness, raise our awareness of how things operate, raise our awareness of myself, the world around me, and how this spiritual system works, and really, essentially, what's the purpose of life? And we'll get into pieces of that also now. So, as I mentioned in the morning's Facebook post, because of the feedback of a few of you last week, I realized that many of you who want to create a watch party, there is no watch party button. You have to go to the share underneath the video, and then in the drop-down menu, it says watch party. So please, I encourage you and ask of you, just start a watch party. Let people have the opportunity. Just give them the opportunity. If you don't share a watch party, then those who are ready to hear us, those who are ready for this wisdom, will not have an opportunity. They'll have to find it some other way. So let's make things easier, not only for them, but also for us. More people who get on board this Kabbalah Center train of bringing light and blessing and the removal of pain and suffering to the world, the better off we are also. Remember, the light system is always win-win, okay? So please take a moment to do that also. So let's say together, wherever you are, our affirmation. Okay. Consciousness is everything. I raise my consciousness today to see the miracles and wonders of life. I commit myself to behave with greater love, compassion, and kindness towards all human beings. And a testament to that is, if you look on the comments, where you all come from. All nationalities, all backgrounds, from everywhere. So it's really, really a joy. And as many of you have heard me talk about, you know, for 33 years I've been in the center. And when we started, we were a very small group, you know, small office in Israel, a house in New York, which is really the main center, and a small office in LA, which is where I found the center. Now, look at us. We're hundreds of people right now all over the world, and there'll be thousands who will be watching these videos. And we have tens of thousands, almost 100,000 of people all around the world in all nationalities, all countries, who learn together in unity. And that's really what I wanted to speak a little more about today. So let me just start with a quick story. Growing up, I had 3 older brothers, and they were much older than me, but they were 2 years apart. So when they were teenagers, if they got in a conflict with each other, if they had an argument, and they would run to my father and, you know, try and get him to be the judge. So there was a period that he would say, look, take the boxing gloves, go out in the garage, have at it, and whoever wins, wins. He was a loving person, and it's good. They didn't have any bloody things or other, but you know how kids will be. Okay, so I wanted to use that as a basis for our lesson today, because what he said was, yes, they could fight with each other, but if somebody came to attack the family, then they all pulled together in unity. And that's what I want to get into today. So let's start as a reminder to put us all back on the same page, for those of you who are advanced and those of you who are new. Before the Big Bang, we stop and ask ourselves. Crazy Kabbalah asks, what existed before the Big Bang? The scientists don't know before the Big Bang. They only know microseconds after the Big Bang. But you and I learn from Kabbalah 1 onward what happened, what existed in the world before the Big Bang. And the value of that is, if we don't understand the pattern upon which this world was created, then we don't know who we are, we don't know what this world is about, and we don't know our purpose in this world. And like we said in the beginning, if a person doesn't know their purpose, then there's a certain aspect of their life that appears to be chaotic. That's why you and I probably in many ways have come to learn here in the Kabbalah Center, because we felt there is a system and we were caught up, we couldn't quite see it. Even if we had our ups and downs, even if we had difficulties in life, etc., we still knew in our heart and soul that there was something, there was a system, there was a way to control our lives and make them more peaceful, more harmonious, more prosperous, more loving, more protected, etc. So before the Big Bang, according to the Kabbalists, there was just endless light, the endless light of the Creator. And this light, in order, as physical light, the light itself is the nature of sharing. It just wants to share. The sun comes out, it shines on the whole earth and all over the universe. When you turn on a light in your room, whichever room it is in your house, that light shines out everywhere. The nature of light, spiritually and physically, is to share, to emanate, and to illuminate. So in order to share, there was the creation of our soul, what the Kabbalists teach us the term vessel, a container. So our soul in this endless world, there's endless light, endless vessel, but only one. There can only be one infinite vessel. There can't be two or three infinite vessels. So there's the infinite light and the infinite vessel, the infinite receiver, which is our soul. And that's all there was. So if you, I know we don't want to envision it as something physical, but because we're in a physical body, in a physical universe, sometimes it helps at least to get a sense of. So if you look like a cup that's full of water, okay, it's full. So there's the one cup, it's complete, and it's full of water. That in essence is a taste of, or maybe a vision, an image of the endless world. So you and I, we are one. That's the key, that's the importance. There was only one endless soul from which we all come, or which we are all a part. And we, the vessel, we're receiving this endless light. So we're filled with light. But here's the glitch. We're filled with light, but we don't feel the fulfillment. The light is fulfilled because it's constantly sharing. The light is fulfilled because it's shining its light outside of itself, illuminating and bringing beneficence and goodness to you and I, the soul, the one infinite soul. So the law is, as we learn the first rule in Kabbalah 1, if you want to reveal the light, meaning if you want that light to be manifest and therefore be fulfilling, we have to share. Because remember, we're filled with the light, but we weren't fulfilled because of this rule. We did not act like the light. In the endless world, what was our nature? Receiving. We're vessels. We're receiving. We were given on a soul level the inherent nature of desire to receive fulfillment from the light. And that's the real key. We all have desire to receive. We all have desire to receive fulfillment. But our origin is desire to receive fulfillment from the light of the Creator, not from anything else. So then we came into this world to do what? Simply to emulate, to act like the Creator. What did the Creator do? Took its light and shared endlessly with this endless vessel. What do we need to do in this world? We came here to do the same thing, to share our light endlessly, in all ways, with all people, right? With all people. That's why our affirmation, right? Love, kindness, and compassion towards all human beings. Because if we want total fulfillment, we have to share our light totally. Okay? Now, what happens then if in this world we seek to receive, like in the endless world, we were receivers. We were created that way. So by receiving instead of sharing, by not acting like the light in the endless world, we were filled. We knew we had all the good inside of us, but we didn't have, if you will, the taste of it or the experience of that true lasting fulfillment because it hadn't been shared. We didn't emulate or act like the Creator. So we came into this world only to do that, to take our light, which every human being is filled with, and extend it out in every way, shape, or form to everyone under all circumstances. That's it. That's it. Can it be much simpler than that? Just share your light. To complete our purpose, we just have to be unified in the same way. We're here in this world, when they say create heaven on earth, it means in the endless world we were all one, unified, because we're only one soul, one infinite soul, one vessel. One. We're all parts of that one infinite vessel. So we came here just to manifest the same thing. So even though we have the illusion that we're 7.5 billion people all over the world and different, we look different, etc., but we're still only one. On a soul level, there is no separation between us. There is no distinction between us. We're all vessels filled with this endless light. But as in the endless world, so too in this world, when we just seek to receive, give me the car, give me the house, give me love, give me compassion, give me approval, give me recognition, give me, then we're acting in the opposite to the way and the mission, the purpose for which we came into this world. So then again, instead of feeling and experience fulfillment, the manifestation of the light, all we'll feel is lack. Lack, as in the endless world. We were filled with the light. We were filled with the Creator's infinite light of fulfillment, but we didn't feel the fulfillment because we were not acting like the Creator. So too in this world, if we are seeking just to receive, then we cannot feel, experience endless bliss. We cannot experience lasting joy, happiness, protection, all the good blessings. So we came just here. Now, think of it, to be unified. So I was thinking this morning, when I was younger, I used to play baseball, Little League and Pony League, they called it. So a baseball team, even though we have different positions, we have to play unified. If the team is going to win, which means each person on the team wins, then you have to play unified. There's no such thing in baseball, or basically any team sport, that one person can win if the whole team doesn't win. So therefore, there's motivation to work together, because in working together, the whole team wins, the whole team gets the reward, the whole team gets the trophy, the whole team gets the acknowledgement. So then you and I, 7.5 billion people on this planet, we are essentially one team of humanity, one vessel. Our job is to come and just unite again and act in that same way. So what stops us? The same thing. On a baseball team, what would happen? Took the eye off the ball. Because it doesn't seem so difficult, right? I come here, just share my light, and I have infinite bliss. I mean, imagine somebody came to you and said, look, I know the lottery numbers, right? You put $10, here's the lottery numbers, and you're going to win $10 million. Doesn't seem so tough, right? Take those numbers, go down, pay the $10, and you'll make 10 million. It's very simple. Very simple. It's not complex. But as in baseball, when I played, what would happen? You get distracted. Somebody in the crowd screams, you get distracted looking at the car going by, whatever it might be. Or you're wondering, well, if the ball's hit to me, what should I do? And so you get distracted, and therefore, sometimes you don't play as a unified team because of the distraction. So too in this world, what stops us is the same thing. We get distracted, we get separated, we get divided. Let me give you a couple examples. When a person feels they don't have enough, whatever it may be, money or awards or whatever it may be, when a person feels they don't have enough, that's when in comes the divisiveness called greed. Have to get for me, have to get for me, have to get for me. And as we said, if it's about receiving for me, then it's the opposite of my purpose and my mission in this world, therefore can only create lack. So what happens? Greed. Person's going to take from other people in some way or another. And that taking means them versus me, them versus us, right? Greed. What about, well, a person feeling the lack, and then they start wondering, well, what's going to be? What's going to happen to me? What's going to go on with me? What am I going to do? How's my future going to be? And then they awaken the divisiveness called fear. Fear is also that form of, well, I don't want to help them because then they might get and I won't, right? They might benefit and I won't. So there's still divisiveness. What about, I didn't get what I wanted. They didn't give me what I wanted. So then comes the divisiveness of anger. And what does anger do? We all know. Anger just creates a distance, a separation, a blockage between two people or between one person and the whole world. How many people have you heard of who they say they're just angry at the world? They're angry at the world. So what does that mean? It's the one person themselves blocked from, divided from, separated from 7.5 billion other people. Parts of their own soul they're being divided from. And then there's, of course, they did that nasty thing to me, they treated me wrong, etc. And which divisiveness? Resentment. Resentment. I can't forgive them. I resent them because of what they did. So then again, a divisiveness. So how does that come about? It comes from what we call the opponent, the spiritual adversary, or that spiritual parasite that is in our head and constantly infusing negative thoughts like these ones. I don't have enough. The Creator's not going to provide me. Maybe God rewards and punishes, right? They did the bad thing to me. What's going to happen in my future? Look at what's going on in the world. People being furloughed. What if it happened to me, right? What if it happens to my loved ones, et cetera, et cetera. So in all ways, shape, or form, that spiritual parasite, that adversary, that opponent keeps putting all the negative thoughts in our head. You know, some of you may have experience in Little League or, you know, if you played baseball or watched Little League baseball, you know, there was always the batter, right? The batter's up and his teammate would yell, or the teammates would yell at the pitcher. Pitcher's got a rubber arm, pitcher's got a rubber arm. Doing what? Trying to distract the pitcher so he wouldn't throw a strike. He'd throw a ball, right? So the opponent, the opposing team made an effort to distract the team that was out in the field, right? Their opponents, so that they would miss the ball and, you know, the team would win. So too, this spiritual parasite, and that's why I like the term parasite. It sucks the energy from the host. So as much as the opponent in our head can make us fear, anger, greed, ego, insensitive, insecure, etc., then it's created a blockage between us and other people, us and the infinite light, even in a way between us and the fullness of the light in our soul, and then leaves a dark spot, an empty spot, that sense of lack, that sense of lack. So then what does he do? Like my brothers, when they were arguing with each other, they didn't go to my father with some really stupid, foolish situation. In their mind, they were justified. Their brother did this to them, and therefore they should be upset, etc. Like you and I, that spiritual parasite, beside putting in the negative thoughts, the limiting thoughts, and the sense of lack, then also gives us reasons and justification for our reactive behavior. Why it's okay to take from them. Well, they have a lot, so if I take something, what's the big deal, right? Or if I'm screaming and yelling in my own car at that person, I'm not hurting them, they can't hear me, what's the big deal? Well, the big deal, my friends, is that we're hurting ourselves. Because when we act in that receiving manner, which is the fear, the anger, insecurity, etc., is a form of receiving. I'm thinking about myself alone. I'm not thinking about the we united. There's a divisiveness. And in that action or thoughts even of receiving, there's a blockage, immediately lack. Again, feeling filled. That's why everyone is driven. Why do people feel frustrated? Because we feel full inside. We have that sense on a soul level we're supposed to have it all. We should have all the good blessings. We should have eternal bliss. We should have happiness and peace all the time. But then with our five senses, we don't see it in our life. And to the extent we don't see it and we perceive the lack, that's where the opponent comes in. He's looking for our vulnerable parts. And since he's in our head, he knows all of our past, he knows all of our thoughts, he knows all the things we've gone through, and he exploits those vulnerabilities, those weaknesses. The purpose of what you and I are doing here, the purpose of the Kabbalah Center that I've been involved in these last 33 years, is just to teach unity, how to fulfill our purpose. One, just give us the wisdom. What is our purpose? We talked just briefly today, but those of you who've taken the class, those of you who haven't taken Kabbalah 1, I encourage you, go to Kabbalah.com, become a community member. All those classes are included. You can learn Kabbalah 1, 2, and 3. You'll be amazed and uplifted, and you'll have a greater sense of enthusiasm and drive, because you'll see that, yes, you are in control of your destiny, that anything outside of you cannot control your destiny if you don't give it permission to. So then the power of the center, just to teach how do we do it. And the basis is, the fundamental rule is, when you share uncomfortably, meaning when you're angry at the driver in front of you, instead of screaming and yelling, extend light, wish them well, wish them to be protected, wish them to have a happy day. Send that light from your soul that's filled with light and extend it out to those people. Difficulty, there's some challenge, you go to the supermarket now, or you have some difficulty at work, and you're feeling like, I want to receive, I've got to get for me, which we now understand is that form of separation. And so in that sense of like, no, I don't want to create for me a separation. I don't want to create for me a sense of lack, a blockage. I want to be connected to the infinite light all the time. Like I've realized in the endless world, like we had a sense of in the endless world, that the light is infinite, it only wants the best for me, and it's already given me everything. So then I want to have the fulfillment. Therefore, I have to extend that light when I don't feel like it, when it's uncomfortable, in ways that I don't want, because the opponent has been putting in my mind lack and limitation. But I know there's no lack. I'm filled with the infinite light. The world is filled with the infinite light, and we are all one soul. And therefore realizing that whatever I do to anyone else is what has to come back to me. And therefore I only want to do good to people, because if I do good to you and everyone else, especially when it's difficult, because when it's difficult, I've stretched my sharing muscles even greater, to a greater extent than I do when I share with family and friends and loved ones, right? Very often it's easy to forgive people we love. Okay, they let the word slip or whatever it may be. It's sort of easy in a way to forgive. But just like physically, physiologically, the more we extend ourselves, the more effort we make to stretch our muscles, to stretch our body, to exert the muscles, then the more the muscles grow. The more effort we exert, let's say cardiovascularly, the stronger the heart gets, because we're strengthening the heart muscle. So we have muscles of sharing. That's what the light inside of us is, if you will. It's a muscle of sharing. So we want to exert that muscle so that the light gets brighter, brighter, and brighter, because with it comes all the blessings. Now, remembering then, as Karen said, the cosmos is on our side. The cosmos wants to help us. And therefore, in some way or another, it's pushing us into unity. It's guiding us, almost like, these, like a corral. Starts out wide, and it gets narrower and narrower and narrower and narrower, where you have to squeeze into that space. So essentially, over millennium, the world is squeezing us, squeezing us, squeezing us. We're still 7.5 billion people, but we're being squeezed to put all the pieces together. If you think in simple terms, if you take that 1,000-piece jigsaw puzzle and you spread it out in a big enough room, then each piece can be by itself. But if you start to close the room, so to speak, right, more and more and more, then those pieces start to unite with each other, even though they may not have made the effort, but the effort being made for them. And so too, the Kabbalists teach us, right, that as the cosmos is pushing us into unity, we either go voluntarily or we go involuntarily. We go in the way, as it's called, mercy, where we voluntarily unite ourselves with other people by what? As we said, extending our light when it's difficult. Yes, what about all the people that we don't know in the world? Well, let's just consider them all good people. We want to send light to all of them because they're all parts of our soul. What about the bad people out there? Same thing, you extend light to them. You're connecting the light in their soul. You're not connecting to their bad behavior. You're not enhancing even their bad behavior, the opposite. As you awaken the light in them, you awaken the programming of the Creator, the programming of the endless, that they'll start to remember internally they came here to be unified. They came here to act in sharing, not with receiving. And that's the way we're going to turn even the bad people of the world into good people, because we all have that light inside of us. So we can go that way, or, like unfortunately we've seen in different ways, unfortunately, very often people will unite through tragedy. Whatever the tragedy, an ailment in a family, losing a job, earthquakes, fires, floods, things like that, will tend, at least temporarily, to bring people together. It's a way that we're seeing the universe is taking us from this, squeezing us together, together, together. The more we go voluntarily, the more we make the effort, then the smoother, the easier, the more blessed we are. Because then it's not tragedy has to strike, heaven forbid, in order to be unified. But either way, it's going to happen. So what do we see today? Look, I've been discussing over in this weekend, the last couple of days, with a few students, this whole COVID thing. It's probably the only thing I can think of in my lifetime, or even what I remember or have learned about history. When was there a time that people were unified against a common enemy? I mean, every war there is, or every conflict, it's always one side versus the other. Even team sports, right? In a way, it's one side against the other. The home team versus the visitors. So there's always a conflict. But in this case, because we know the cosmic system is that the universe is corralling us and squeezing us together more and more to be unified, to bring all the pieces back into unity from our point of view. We've never been out of unity. On a soul level, there's never, ever, ever been a disconnect from you, me, everyone on earth, and the endless light. Never. It's only from our 5 sense perception that we can say, well, people are divided and they're over here, and they don't belong to my city, they don't belong to my country, my political party, my economic status, my religion, whatever. We can find ways to see divisiveness. But we can also, and this is our spiritual work, what we're learning here, how to see the unity and how to act upon and live into that unity. That's what we're learning. So this COVID, if you will, it's in a basic way, the whole world is united against the common enemy of the COVID, right? We're being squeezed. So we can see it. When there's squeezing, the people who are resisting the unity, like we said, the involuntary way or the way of judgment, they're still finding ways with the help of their opponent, that spiritual parasite, they're still finding ways to blame somebody. Well, let's blame, China because they didn't tell us. Let's blame the politicians because they're not saying. Let's blame the medical people because this. We'll always find some way. But if we really look at it, it's really like the whole world working against one enemy. For me, that awakening, that awareness these last few days just validates what I've learned for 33 years. The universe is pushing us. The Zohar, which is the source of all Kabbalistic wisdom, that's given us the blueprint of the universe, is true. It's just another validation. The Kabbalists have said for thousands of years, yeah, every human being is being pushed together. Now we're just seeing the physical manifestation. My teachers, the Rav and Karen Berg, always said, Kabbalah is 50th century science. Even today, we're only in the 21st century. So Kabbalistic science is almost 3,000 years ahead of physical science. But they're catching up. Quantum physics, dark matter. Used to be that there are dark spots in the universe, like empty places. Then they came along with, no, they found there's dark matter. In fact, almost more in the darkness than in the light. So they're starting to prove on a 5 sense physical level what the Kabbalists have been teaching us on that 6th sense or spiritual level for thousands of years. Because the blueprint of the universe is the blueprint of the universe. It's that simple, right? I look at a wall and I don't see the pipes going in. I don't see the framing, etc. But I know they're there because I have some sense of how it's built. But I only see the wall. I don't see the inside. So too, you and I are limited by our 5 senses to not see the reality. And that's what we're learning here, how to awaken, stimulate, activate our soul's energy, the light that's in us. So as the light shines out, we can see beyond our 5 senses. We see more of the truth that we are unified, we are one, the world is infinite. There's no lack in the universe. Those of us, unfortunately, feeling a lack, whatever it is, a lack of job, love, money, protection, whatever it may be, there is no lack. We've blocked ourselves by the receiving behavior. And therefore, the way to access the abundance of all good things in the universe is to turn around wherever we have been acting with the receiving. Find a way today to turn around, and in some way, even if it's just to close your eyes and just meditate, envision a beam of light going out of your soul to those people, those situations that you felt were blockages, that you felt were the blame or responsible for your lack and your missing things in life, etc. Wow. Yes, thank you. Okay. All right, let's start extending the light. How do we speed it up? Goes back to the endless world. Remember, In the endless world, we had absolute clarity. There was only light, only light. And we were created, and still to this day, inherently in our soul, we are driven to have fulfillment from the light of the Creator. It's the parasite, that spiritual parasite called the opponent, that makes us think that our good or our blessing is going to come from that person. If I get that person in my life in a relationship, if I get that money, if I get that car, if I get those things, if I get that acknowledgement, if I get something, I will be happy. No, the light is the only source of lasting fulfillment. Only, only, only. We have to engrave that in our consciousness. We have to keep repeating it 10, 20, 100, 1,000 times a day. The light is the only source of lasting fulfillment. The light is the only source of lasting fulfillment. I am a pure and perfect being of light. So that we will use our inherent desire to receive the fulfillment, which is our soul. We will use that to be driven for the light. Because desire is everything. Wherever our desire is focused, that's where we're going to tend to go. That's why when I was learning to drive, they used to tell us, don't look to the side, because wherever your head goes, essentially wherever your eyes go, that's where the car is going to go. It's going to tend to go in that direction. So the Kabbalists say, wherever our desire, if our desire is focused on simply the physical material things, then that's where our drive will take us. But you and I have come to understand in so many different ways, the physical things are not lasting fulfillment. They can be good for a while, but somewhere down the line, that goodness is going to disappear and we're going to feel the lack again. Because our mission was what? That's right. Unite as one soul, extend light 24/7 to every human being on earth. Light comes through the physical world, not from the physical world. So our love comes through people from the light. We can all be channels of that love, which is a form of light, or heaven forbid, we can block it. We can block it, but it comes from the light. It can come through people. Prosperity doesn't come from your boss, your job, your customers, clients, whatever. It comes from the light through them. So the more we understand those things, protection, peace, love, the clarity, the right decisions, right? All those things come from the light. Our job is to be a conduit. Let it come through us, or let it come through other people. So when people tell us advice or whatever it may be, it's coming through them from the light. That's what we need to know. We need to know. So if it's coming from the light, and one person or one situation is not the conduit of it, then because the light is infinite and always flowing to us, it'll find another conduit. That's all simple. If it's not this, that's why Karen always says, when one door closes, another opens. Because there is no close, there is no lack, there is no limitation in the light itself. So if something seems to dry up, like today, so many people, unfortunately, they're unemployed, they're being furloughed, whatever it may be. You and I need to awaken more light. We need to share more light. We need to spread more light. So those people will not be caught by their opponent in the lack and limitation, but they'll be awakened to realize, no, the light of the Creator is infinite. There is another job. There is another way, because prosperity, abundance doesn't come from the job they were in. It came through. And if that is now closed, it will find another way to come through. And that's what you and I, in all way, shape, or form, want to keep in our consciousness. And as you and I, the people who are learning here in the center, who have more of the wisdom, the tools, the technology, are spreading more light, we're raising everybody's consciousness, and everybody will more and more come to that consciousness. There's abundance. Let me share. Let me share uncomfortably. Let me go outside of myself to share, because I know it brings me back more blessings than I could ever imagine. So I want to share this lesson. I just heard it this last week, because it's coming up, and we'll mention Lag BaOmer, this amazing, amazing cosmic event that's happening on Monday night. But because of the time, and the time we're in the year, between the month of Aries to the month of Gemini, there's a 50-day period. And thousands of years ago, there was an amazing, one of the highest souls that ever existed, Raava Kiva, all right, Raava Kiva. And at one point he had 24,000 students, and they were all giants in wisdom of spiritual things, etc., etc. But during this period, they died in a plague. And it says, why did they die? Because they didn't acknowledge respect one for the other. So, of course, many questions come up. If they were so spiritually evolved, how could they not? And one of the Kabbalists writes, he says, what did it really mean they didn't respect? It wasn't they didn't respect the other person per se. They didn't respect the wisdom of the other person that they felt may have been a little less than them. I want to repeat that. They're all giants, but even in that frame of 24,000, there had to be some, even, all of them were way above us, respectfully, but even within their frame, there had to be some a little more knowledgeable, a little less knowledgeable, etc. So that's what it says. They didn't respect the wisdom of the other person that they may have felt was a little less knowledgeable than them. And what does this Kabbalist write? He says, then they didn't respect wisdom itself. They didn't respect wisdom. Because if they respected wisdom as a form of light, then they would seek it from anyone, everywhere, anyhow, any way. And so even if they thought they were 10 times better than this other person, but if the person was emanating or sharing any form of wisdom, they would have desired it. They would have sought it out because they felt the power, the value of wisdom itself. So for us, what I want to put in our minds, light. Light is the only source of lasting fulfillment. We need to put that in our mind. It's to our greatest benefit because then we're driven for the light. And then, like we just learned from the lessons of the students of Raava Kiva, if or as we seek the light, knowing it's our source of lasting fulfillment, then we are willing to seek it in every way, shape, or form from any person, anywhere, anything. The people we think are better than us, the people we think are lower than us, and even in the difficult situations in our life. Because the more we value the light, the more we will seek it anywhere. Think about it. If you're sitting now, or if a person's sitting with $1 million cash in the bank, so what's a penny to them? What's a penny? It's a penny. So if they walk on the street and they see a penny, or maybe in their case even a dime, they'll just walk right by it. Well, I got $1 million in the bank. What's the big deal? But the Rav and Karen always emphasize to us, every penny has light in it, as does everything. The clothes you wear, our physical body, the food we eat, the ground, plants, and everything has light in it. So the Rav would always say, if a person sees a penny on the ground and doesn't pick it up, they're not worth a penny. Why? Now you understand more deeply. Because they're not respecting, meaning they're not valuing, appreciating the light even in that penny. Because when we appreciate light, when we realize the light is the source of our very life itself, person dies when the soul leaves, the light leaves them. That's what we call death. So when we understand the light is the most valuable thing, then even if it's a penny of light, we will seek it out, we will appreciate it, we will derive blessing from it, and we'll find, therefore, ways to share it. So today is an opportunity for us to awaken a greater appreciation for the light, desire it even more in every way, especially in the difficult situations. Find the darkness, go in, extend light, transform the darkness into light, because you appreciate the light, and you know as you collect, so to speak, or reveal more light, then that light will attract to you greater blessings, abundance, peace, health, love, protection, clarity, the right decisions to move in the right path of the light, on the path of mercy, where we're voluntarily uniting ourselves with the other pieces of our soul. So I just want to explain briefly, because it is tomorrow night. Many of you already know of it. Some of you who are newer may not. But there's a cosmic opening, what they call a window in time, tomorrow night. It's called Lag BaOmer. And what it is it's an opening in the cosmos, because it's the day that Rav Shimon Bar Yochai, the author of the Zohar, I can't say author as in he wrote it, but it was dictated to him and he transcribed it into written form, because up to that point it was only taught orally from one master Kabbalist to the next. So tomorrow night is the elevation day, we call it, meaning the day, most people would say his death anniversary, the day he left the world. But as we are saying, if you think about it, what is a righteous person? They start off in the beginning of their life with some correction, some lack, some limitation, whatever it is. And over time, they keep revealing voluntarily more light, more light, more light. So then the day they leave the world is the day they're revealing the maximum, all the light of their soul. So they leave a hole, if you will, in the blockage, in the curtain between us and the upper worlds, between us and heaven, between us and the infinite light. So then as we connect, in this case, to the soul and the path of Rav Shimon, we also have greater access, if you will, an easier access to that endless world, to the endless light, and to our supernal perfect self that is united. We'll be able to feel, sense, and even perceive more of the unity and oneness. We'll see when we say my perfect self, but it's already connected with that infinite soul. So we have that opportunity. So you can, if you're a community member, just go in, log in. It's included in the community membership. If you're not, I encourage you, go check it out. You can become a community member. If you really need help, there are scholarships available because of the generosity of donors to help people who are going through difficulty to be a community member. Many of these events now are pay as you can, even if it's $1, $5, $10, whatever you can pay to do that also. But go on and log on, because this is not only the day of Rav Shimon, but it's the day of the Zohar. And as we always speak about the power of the Zohar, and I've shared many of the stories, and many of you have stories of miracles, because the Zohar just channels light. What could be simpler to understand? It's just a conduit of the light of the endless. How much light we each derive is how open we are. So the more that we share the Zohar around the world, then the more the light will awaken the heart and soul of people. It's a day, as we said, love your neighbor as yourself. It's the ultimate. Spreading the Zohar is the ultimate of love your neighbor as yourself, because it awakens all the endless light in every single person. So I leave you with this thought. Let's love the light in each other, because love is unity. Love is oneness. Two people in love are united. Let's love the light in each other, in every person on earth, so unconditionally, in unity and in oneness, that we love them so much that by spreading the Zohar around the world, this infinite light, we will literally awaken the light that the Creator put in every soul. We will awaken the unity of all humanity so strongly that we will literally be able to love the hell out of this world. God bless. So I just want to take this moment as we do, and those of you who are new, we are a charitable organization. We would love to be able to spread the Zohar, as we now have a program, because again, the generosity of donors. So you can go on Kabbalah.com and you can find a free Zohar. We are committed to give away about 15,000 Zohars to people who cannot afford it. Obviously, to be able to do that and to empower us to do that takes those of you who can, your support, your donations. So Lag BaOmer in particular, this elevation day of Rav Shimon, the day of the Zohar, is a day that we always will encourage people to share their light, their resources that the Creator has given them to spread Zohar around the world, remembering it's empowering you to have greater love, compassion, and kindness. It's empowering you to be more protected, have more blessings, to manifest more of what the Creator put inside you. So it's always win-win. When we have, whether it's money, wisdom, time, knowledge, whatever, and we share it with those who need it, who in the moment are lacking, it's always a win-win. Our light is revealed, their light is being awakened, so that they will be able to raise their consciousness and become people who can also share with other people who are in need meanwhile. Until, like we said, we've brought so much light in the world that there's nobody in need, there's nobody in lack. And then as the prophet says, nobody will have to teach each other about God because everybody will know God, So this is the time that we meditate, we bless the offering. And in this case, yes, you can go online. It's you can go on the website and you can find the Spiritual Sunday giving page. And I also want to mention, because a number of you have asked, how can I dedicate my donation? So if you go on the page, you fill in your amount, and then when you go to checkout, on the side, there's a little box where you can dedicate it. So if, in this case, you want to dedicate your donation to the Zohar project to help us spread more Zohar, if you want to dedicate it in the honor of somebody or in the name of somebody, to help somebody you know is sick or going through difficult times, etc., you have an opportunity to do that on the Spiritual Sunday giving page. So we don't want to just do, even with your love and your care, we want to up the amount of energy. So let's just take a moment to bless our offering. So just close your eyes, envision the light that's come to you from the endless, the light that you carry with you, and how that light has brought you many, many blessings, miracles, and brought you to this wisdom, to the Kabbalah center that's spreading this to every human being all over the world. And therefore realizing that it is our blessing, it is our merit, it is with joy and happiness that we share from our resources to spread this wisdom, to spread the Zohar, to bring so much light in the world that everybody will have clarity, will be able to behave directly with love, with sharing, revealing all the light of their soul. We have gratitude for what we've been given, gratitude to be able to share, and we're blessing our offering, that we know as we give it and it's going through the center to spread this wisdom, to spread the Zohar, that we're touching the hearts and souls of people around the world, awakening the heart of people today who are thinking of doing something selfish or worse, something negative to others, that our gift and our spreading the light will awaken their heart and soul, that they will not do the negative, but in fact the opposite. They will send light and blessing and act with kindness and compassion. And so with our love, with the light that the Creator has so generously given us, so too we generously give and share with others, envisioning the end of all pain, suffering, and death. And together we say, Amen. So again, I want to thank all of you for doing the watch parties, for sharing the video. After the fact, in a few minutes, the video will be available. You can share it again on your Facebook page. I appreciate the fact that you're sending it out there. Thousands of people are now watching it. I'd like us to be able to reach tens of thousands of people, because imagine more people learning this, everybody unifying. Think how much better the world is for us. When we can take one thief out of the world, all of us are more protected. When we take one violent person out of the world by transformation, then we're all more protected. So as we can take all those people and transform them out of the violence or the negativity or the divisiveness through the spread of the Zohar and this wisdom into unity and oneness, then everybody is blessed. We are blessed and they are blessed, because then there's nobody that will do anything of a negative, selfish nature anymore. That's what's called the Messiah, Mashiach, heaven on earth. May it soon appear with your help, my help, and all the students around the world, gathering and bringing, attracting more people to this wisdom, to support what we're doing, that we can see it very soon in our own time. God bless you all. Thank you very much. And have an amazing week. I hope to see you tomorrow night in the Lag BaOmer, because we're doing it all together in unity, globally. Hope to see you tomorrow night. And again, we'll be there all night. Whatever amount you can be there, connect to that energy. and that power. God bless. Have an amazing, amazing day and a wonderful week. Yes, love and blessings to you all.